Hi guys, and welcome to part 4 of the full website build. In this video, we're going to progress this yoga site homepage with a review section. It's going to be a 3-column review section, and then we'll go to a call to action and footer and carry on with the rest of the site. But we're going to go into a bit of a deep dive lesson into HTML semantics for the review section. And, before you go, oh, God, I just want to build something, if you take the time to have a look at the deeper semantics, as we're going to do in this video, you'll realize just how there's a responsibility to front-end web development that we've not been taking seriously when using page builders in WordPress. And I think that that's something that is something that I certainly want to improve on, because as I'm going more to a code-first approach, either in Bricks or Etch in WordPress land, or using Feud Studio and VS Code and Astro projects, the responsibility of the front-end web developer to get not just the design into a code form, but also the framework into an SEO and accessibility and structural framework is the responsibility is huge. Even just building out a review section, the skeletal parts of that section has so many intricacies to it that we've been taken for granted in page builders, mainly because page builders don't do them anyway. But I want to show you this. So if we pop along to, I've been spending a bit more time on this site, MDN, and essentially you can go through every tag in HTML and get some proper examples about how you should be using it and why it actually exists. And what you find is that review sections, review cards like this, they should be using the tag here, block quote, and more than that, in the more involved versions of them, or in the broader landscape, this should be wrapped in a figure tag, and then maybe that should be in an article tag. We're going to have a look at all of this, but there's much more to it than thinking, I don't want to use a page builder element that's pre-built, so I want to design my own. And then, like me, you've just been building out a div with a heading and some text, and maybe another bit of a text for author name. None of that has taken charge of these HTML semantics that are so important, not just for the SEO side of it and bots understanding what they're crawling on and search engines understanding what the page is about. It's not just about that. It's about accessibility also. All of these different semantic structural requirements literally make the site visible and usable for quite a significant portion of people who are using screen readers or assistive technologies. And it's the front-end web developer's responsibility to tend to all of this stuff. Now again, page builders might have some of this in place in their pre-built elements. I certainly don't think that of Elementor, but I don't think that they do the best job. And if you want to do the best job, then you might be hand coding this. But here's the thing: even when you are hand coding this into a page builder, so you're making a block and then you loop through it, you don't have all of the access to the HTML code that you need in order to make this absolutely perfect. And if you don't want to do an absolutely perfect job, fine, then that's cool. Go to some other tutorials. But if you want to really understand how should it be structurally behind the scenes, so that it looks like this, but behind the scenes it's looking as it should like this, then you need to have a tool that is enabling you to do that. Now again, in page builders, at a push, you've got Bricks, then you've got Etch, which gives you direct access to the HTML. So page builders in WordPress, you should probably be using Etch. If you're looking at building out Astro sites, this falls completely to you. There aren't any page builders aside from Feud where you can actually visually drag, drop, create an Astro site, because all of this falls to you. And AI does not tend to this, all right? AI does not tend to this. So if you want to do a semantically perfect job and make your website accessible, make it strong in SEO, then we need to be tending to the more involved parts of HTML semantics. So again, jump onto MDN. We're going to do that now. I'm going to show you what I've been learning, and then we're going to put together the review section for this website, and we're going to do it properly. Okay, so I'm going to take you to, so I took what was here and I ran off to Gemini and we had a bit of a chit chat, and what I ended up coming to was this final master structure. Okay, and so we've got here the article, which is where what you would actually call the review card. Okay, so if we're trying to think of our site in components that we might build out, we've got the review card here. And obviously the idea that I have for this is that we're going to have sort of three review cards within the section. Okay, so that should be wrapped in an article, and then the actual review should be within a figure. And a figure is it's an element that is referred to, or that stands as, actually, let's have a look at how. Let's go straight to source here. So MDN docs, right? The figure HTML element. I did that because I did it earlier. I was like, what is a figure? Isn't that for an image? No. The figure HTML element represents self-contained content, potentially with an optional caption, which is specified using the fig caption element. Okay, so the figure, its caption, and its contents are referenced as a single unit. So it's all self-contained. Usage. It's for an image, illustration, diagram, code snippet, also for reviews. And then it would have a fig caption as where you provide an attribution. Okay, so a review should be within a figure because it has a caption with it for attribution. And then the actual review should be in a block quote. Now this is the bit that you can't really add into page builders, even Bricks, and I think, you know, Bricks is very close to Etch in how great that is. Bricks is the one that I would promote even more than Etch for all the pros and the cons at this point. But yes, so this bit you can't add in Bricks though, but you can add it in Etch and Viewed. So we need the actual review to be in a block quote, and then the fig caption. And this is where it gets really involved, where you have the name and then you have to have this site here. Now this is a bit like a strong or a bold tag, so this isn't a div. And in my learning here, you know, Gemini chastised me a bit, saying this is a misconception. Every time you see something like this, don't think it's a div. It's not. It's just a tag that wraps the content and gives context for the bots, gives context for search engines. It gives context to the browser, whatever it is that's reading it. It gives context to screen readers. And so then within this site, which is an attribution, you have a link there to the actual profile. Okay, so you can see that that's actually quite an involved thing. I can personally say that whenever I've built out my own review or testimonial card element in Breakdance or Bricks or Etch, I've not tended to all of this. I would like to make sure that I'm doing that. Okay, so let's do that. It's time to get spectacular. All right, so enough theory. Let's start applying this to our site in Viewed. Right, so first of all, what we need to do is get the section. Okay, so section, review section, and the containing div. We're going to need a heading. And we're going to need a little bit of blurb text like check out all my reviews, blah, blah, blah. Then we need the UL. So this is going to be the list of reviews. And then within that, we're going to need the actual list item. Okay, so list item. Then, as we have on this one, we have an article, because there are separate items all in a row, and they need to be they need to be sort of identified as individual elements. That is much as the case with figure, by the way. So, but yes. article, figure, and then we have a block quote with a P in it. Okay, so let's do that in Feud. So we need to create the block quote with the P in it, and now we've added the items, we can change that one to block quotes, which is there. Cool. Right, next to the block quote, so in line with it, we have the fig caption. Okay, so actually, if I just bring this down here for a bit, that's actually easier for you guys as well. So the block quote, so I'm going to hold Option with block quote selected there and press the div. So we've got the fig caption. Now we need a span and a cite in there. Okay, so yeah, span, and then I'll just change that to span. Oh, what did I do? Was I holding Option? Span and a cite, so that's going to be a div, and that has within it an A item. Okay, gosh, I think that's everything, but that looked like quite a lot. So fig caption, span. I've gotten lost. Right, so this div, let's start applying these now and it'll make more sense to us. So that's going to be a custom, because I don't have cite in there. Okay, so cite is applied, and then span here, which are going to follow it just as Gemini has said. This is perfect. Might as well, while we're here, chuck in some content. Right, span, and then this is fig caption, isn't it? Cool. And then this one is block quotes, and let's steal that just for the minute. Great. And then, so that's the bit where we need direct access to the HTML, which we wouldn't. Oh, I just realized my face has been in the way this whole time. Sorry, guys. Okay, so block quote, and then we have the figure. So we're going to change that to figure. I think we've got everything now. Article. And then list. No. I've done something wrong there. Oh, God, sorry. Let's have a look at this. Section div. This will be the UL list. That's correct. Okay. UL list article figure. Yep, within the article. That's correct, isn't it? God, it looks quite involved. Figure, block quote with the P in it. That's great. That one needs to have a cite in it. So let's add that in now. So block quote. So again, in WordPress, you can only do this in Etch, I believe. Oh, well, no, you could do it in attributes in Bricks. So yeah, Bricks is awesome. And Breakdance, to be fair. But again, it's whether you have felt... Oh. I'll just do that right now. That's... What? No. I don't know. I've got a bit scatty. God, there we are. Yeah, that is correct. Da da da. Shameful, Chris. Right. Okay. So bum bum bum. Okay, that's looking that's looking as it should, to be honest. ahref, so let's bung that in there. Cool. As you can see, it's all added where it should do. There, that's it. Okay. Right, so let's this is the bit that we need to duplicate. All right, so we've got 3 items in there. And that's going to be in H2. Actually, I'm going to delete these because I like to have a heading, and articles should have another heading in them. And so what I would like to do is duplicate this, and that's going to be in H3. And that's going to be like the little review heading bit, which makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now we'll duplicate the list item. Boom and boom. And now, just out of curiosity, I would like to take a fresh context window from Gemini and say, judge this semantic HTML section. Okay, but our review section title and review section intro paragraph. Cool. Let's bung in I want to add more demo content, so I'm going to apply changes there. Okay, coolio. So let's grab a fresh context window from Gemini, and please review this review section for semantics. HTML semantics. Obviously doesn't have content. Right. Now later on we will have a look at ARIA label stuff as well, just to top it off, but your structure is actually quite solid, particularly your use of article and UL. These are things that you just wouldn't have tended to, or I didn't tend to in page builders for a collection of reviews. However, there are a few semantic refinements and accessibility best practices. Cool. The heading inside block quote. Technically, a block quote represents a section that is quoted from another source. Placing an H3 inside it is valid HTML5, but it can be confusing for screen readers if the heading is just a highlight of the text below it. Okay, that's cool. So it's right for article, but maybe it shouldn't be in the block quote. If the heading is part of the user's review title, keep it. It is. If it's just a repetition of the body text for styling, consider a strong or just styled. Okay. There is a common misconception about site. According to the HTML specification, site should contain the title of a work, not the name of a person or a URL. Move the person's name, Joe Blog, into the fig caption. I thought it was. It is. Okay, it's wrong about that. That's fine. And use the A tag for the link. That's literally what's done, isn't it? Redundant content. In your example, the text in the H3 and the P is identical for screen readers. Where? But an article needs a heading, H3 in this case. So that should be there, but not in block quote above it. No, it has to be. Yeah, all right. Above it, that's fine. From the strict semantic and document outline perspective, an article is essentially self-contained. Yes, so it should have a heading. If you place a heading inside the block quote, you're technically saying that the title itself is part of the external quote. If that's true, the user wrote a title for their Google review. It can stay there. However, it is much cleaner for the document outline and better for screen readers to keep the heading as the primary identifier for the article. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that yes, it should be like that. Yeah, the H3 is for article semantics, and also for emphasis. It is a part of the direct quote, but not required. I don't suppose it's required to be in there, but not an actual title taken from the original quote, which did not have a title. Yeah, so I just want to, if the text in the H3 is a direct quote from the source but wasn't originally a title, using it as an H3 for semantic structure is a clever way to satisfy the requirement. Thanks, I'm clever. However, since the H3 is a direct quote, it technically belongs within the scope of the quotation. Okay, since you also want it to serve as a heading for the article, the most semantically honest way to code this, which is what I'm after, is to place the heading inside the article. And if you want to be extra precise, wrap that heading in its own Q tag, or simply keep it as the, what the hell is it? What? I feel like I've gone around in circles now. Quote tags, did it mean? Well, this is where I'm standing at the moment. That feels correct. The article heading, you've satisfied the article needs a heading rule. By using the most impactful sentence as of the quote as the H3, you give the article a clear identity in the document outline. Great. Emphasis versus semantics. By putting the H3 outside the block quote, you distinguish the document structure, the heading, and the content source, the block quote. Why it feels repetitive to have the same text and the P, it is common in testimonial UI patterns where a pull quote serves as the title. Ugh. So that's common. Okay. Remove the empty div. No, that's a container for the div. That's fine. The site tag in your original code, you had the A inside the site. This is correct, but ensure the text inside the A or next to it describes the work. Review on Google Maps. Right, that's cool. Okay, right, look, I want this to be a bit of a journey on this one, so let's actually Google review. I want to work through this. I'm going to take one of my little quotes actually. Okay, so Sarah J. I hope you regard this as fine enough content. Yeah, okay. Apply changes. I'm going to pull this back. Let's get one that's just absolutely perfect, and then it will say, yes, you're amazing. I've tried several studios in the area. Cool. Nothing compared to the energy here, so that's going to be a pull quote. I don't know if that has a different oh, have I put that in the wrong one? Yeah, okay. Right. Okay, so I've added the review in. Okay. Now I want to say nothing compares to the energy here. I'm just going to work with Gemini on this one and see if we can get nothing compares to the energy here. Right. Okay. Sarah J. Sarah J. Site, google.com. Yeah, example there. So, Google review link. Yeah. Hopefully Gemini makes sense of that. All right, our review section title. Then we have this. Oh, right, look at that. That is just an empty div, and it shouldn't be. That's wrong. I have to look at that. Okay, so H2P UL, and then the list. Yep, cool. All right, that is looking what I think is perfect, although we have discussed with Gemini that we're going to take that away, although that is a direct quote, so technically that should go in there. I don't know. That's how we're going to roll with it, okay? That's what we'll look at, okay? So I know that Gemini will actually go like, oh no, you've only got one item in there, so you shouldn't have a UL in the list. So I have to duplicate this when we say judge it. I'm sure this video is slowed down right down for you guys, but I'm interested in learning here. And what I thought I was already like there, so it was like, okay, so let's actually judge this together. And I'll show you what I've learned, but now I'm relearning. So, okay, what about this? This updated version is excellent. Boom, we did it. It hits the sweet spot for modern semantic HTML by extracting a powerful phrase from the body text and using it as an H3. You've created a logical document outline that... Is that better for you? Here is a quick breakdown of why this works so well, and two very minor nitpicks. There's always one or two to make it perfect. What works perfectly? Article headings. Each review is now a self-contained unit with its own title. This is great for SEO and for the screen reader users who navigate via headings. That's the thing we need to be remembering, isn't it? Logical hierarchy. The H3 creates a summary hook while the block quote provides the full context. Okay, that's good as long as that's like happy with that. The fig caption structure using the span for the author and the site for the source link is exactly how the spec intended these tags to be used. I feel quite happy right now. Two minor adjustments to consider. Shut up. Avoid duplicate title text in the paragraph. I don't know what that means. Since you've already used nothing compares to the energy here. Oh, okay. As the H3, having it immediately repeat as the first sentence. Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. The pro move, if you are comfortable editing the body text, start from the paragraph from the second sentence. If the content is being pulled dynamically and you can't change it, don't worry. Right, so it's saying there just choose a different item so it's not immediately repetitive, which is fair enough. The div versus header. Oh, so articles should have... a header and a footer, technically. Yeah. So articles, even when they are literally like little self-contained carousel items, even they're meant to have a header and I believe also a footer. That's interesting, which a lot of people don't realize. So you wrapped your title and intro in a div. Did I? Well, I didn't. Nothing about title and intro. Well, if that was in the thing, is that's another div there, or well, it's okay. See what it's saying. You wrapped your title and intro in a div. Review section intro paragraph. That didn't even exist there. Oh, right. I'm sorry. That's for the actual section. I think it's getting confused there because the heading should be in the article. You wrapped your title and okay. I think you're wrong there, aren't you? Header should be in the article, in which case the H3 heading should be in a div header. The div you're referring to and changing to a header was a mistake. It's the container div in the section. Yeah. A section should not have a header in it. You are absolutely correct to call that out. I was over applying the header. Yeah, okay. If we are following the H3C HTML5 specification strictly, an article is a self-contained composition using a header inside it to wrap your H3 and potentially other metadata like a date or star rating is the gold standard for semantic architecture. As for the div, you're right. If that's your CSS layout container for blah blah blah, it should stay a div. Yeah, a header is for introductory content, whereas a container is just a functional wrapper. Yep, got it. So okay, all right. Just one more follow-up question. Is the header in the article necessary? Should it be there? Strictly speaking, no, it's not necessary. Cool. So I don't want any more items in the DOM, really. The article is perfectly happy with just an H3 followed by a figure. Cool. The case for not using the header, yep, keep it simple. Okay, cool. So then, as it stands, as pasted, is this a gold standard representation? $95. Perfect. Fig caption great. It correctly groups. Why is it only greater than site? Technically, site should wrap the title of the source, Google Maps, not just the link itself. A section should ideally be labeled so screen readers know what the region is. All right, okay. Let's get this down. Let's get this sorted. The section ARIA, I did say earlier that we would need to sort out the ARIA labeled stuff. Okay, so let's back to Feud. And again, you know, when we're front-end web developers and we're doing this, this is exactly the sort of... So that should be on all of my sections, really. Reviews title. Do you mean reviews section? I don't know. And then what was the other bad mark we got? Site. Technically, site should wrap the title of the source, e.g. Google Maps, not the link itself. I'm sure it's got that wrong. Okay. Okay, sorry, let's just iron this out. Sorry, this is open learning, and I hope that's okay with you guys. There are two sites here. One was for general publication link. I believed. And one is for a specific review link, if available. Please clarify. All right. Great questions, thank you. The ID itself for text, it can be anything you want as long as it exactly matches the ID on your H2. When a screen reader hits the section, it looks for an element with the ID, reviews title. It then bounces that section using the text found in the H2. What? If your H2 has ID reviews section. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. It's in reference to the H2 ID. All right, I'm still a bit blurry on that. The two sites, this is a very common point of confusion in HTML because the word site is used in two different ways. That's helpful. The site attribution on the block quote purpose, this is a machine-readable URL. It tells browsers and search engines exactly where the original quote lives. Okay, so as specific as possible. Visibility, it is invisible to the user. Users cannot click. Fine. Gold standard, use this for the specific URL of the individual review. The site element inside fig caption. Here, purpose, this is human readable reference. According to the HTML spec, the site element must contain the title of the work, so Google reviews, the New York Times, or Yelp. Visibility, this is visible and clickable. Gold standard, use this for the name of the platform of the source. Okay, and that's to the specific review. Right, didn't know that. Okay. So, review 1, 2, 3. Okay, that makes sense. Google business profile, I suppose. Okay, so that's correct. That's correct now. Just need to understand this review title. Well, this doesn't have an ID. Okay, so the H2 should have an ID. It doesn't currently, but needs ID equals review section title, and then ARIA label, ARIA. Oh God, I don't even know. See, learning ARIA equals review section title. Correct? Exactly right. To make it the gold standard, and I want to do that, you add the ID to the H2 and then point the ARIA labeled by attribute to the section. This creates a programmatic relationship between the container and its label. Without this, a screen reader user might enter the section and just hear region. Oh God, yeah, we don't want that. But with this change, they hear our review section title region. Okay, right, let's sort this out then. I'm just going to copy and paste this because it's easier. Right, so that, jump to feud and chuck that in. So ID equals review section title. Then this is going to be, well, the same. Okay, apply changes. Specific review URL. I'm just going to quote that so that it knows that I've listened. Yeah. Cool. And then no. It said not for that. See, right, it's going in circles now. It said that that should be pointing to the publication. So site here we are, site business Google. Right, I think that's correct. Okay, so let's remove these. This is what we've got left. Google Business Profile link. Okay. Okay. This should be perfect. Oh, God. Okay. This is excellent. You've successfully navigated the nuances of HTML5 semantics, accessibility, and modern document structure. This markup is gold standard because it is meaningful to search engines, clear to screen readers, and logically organized for developers. The landmark relationship using ARIA labeled by review section title and matching it to the ID on the great. The independent article, each review is correctly wrapped in an article, making them standalone units of content. Cool. The document outline, you have a clear heading hierarchy. Great. The proper attribution, you are using block quote and fig caption exactly as intended, with a clear distinction between the quote and the citation. The cite usage, you have correctly used the cite element to wrap the name of the work. Great. That's great. So that was the last bit I was a bit iffy on. One final pro tip. There's always one more. The only thing that could possibly make this more perfect is a tiny detail for external links. Okay, since these links go to Google, adding target blank and rel equals no opener is a standard. All right, well, let's get that in there. That's on the Google Business Profile. Yeah. A final pass. Right. Right. Okay. Right, I'm going to apply those changes and duplicate that. Right. Okay, cool. Right. That's great. So that should be the most perfect review section ever in the world. Okay. Judge this out of 5 stars. Kind of appropriate. I'm giving this 5 out of 5 stars. You have managed to satisfy 3 different masters here. The W3 HTML specification, great. Web accessibility, yes. And SEO best practices. The scorecard, semantics, accessibility, security, structure, great. The site correctly. This is clean, professional, and ready for a production environment. We've got there. You've officially moved past making it work page builder bullshit to making it right. Nice work. Okay. I took off my glasses there to be quite dramatic, okay? But here is my gift to you, okay? This section here, I'm going to add this to save as an insert, all right? Review section template, okay? And I've not actually tested yet how to navigate the spaces in the HTML side of that, so I'm just going to review section template and save. That is now a custom insert that I have in place, okay? So if I click on this icon here and go to custom, I can just insert that, and it's going to put all of that HTML structure there to then change, all right? I'm so confident in this, I'm going to delete this. Deleted all that work we've just done, and then I'm going to add it all in again, okay? So there it is. It doesn't have the content so much. Okay, we're going to style that up. But this is going to be added to the native HTML inserts. Okay, so this section, this whole pattern, this is a pattern, HTML pattern with some demo content in there, is going to be added into the native inserts in Fuge Studio. So to get this semantically perfect 5 out of 5 star reviews section in Fuge Studio, you just have to click a button, all right? And then alter the content as you need. Yeah, okay, so really pleased with that. Let's now actually get spectacular all over again. This has been quite a long video, but let's just quickly style it up and chuck a few bits in there. Okay, right, really pleased with that. I do love to learn and love how to do it all properly. So reviews. All right, let's get the classes on there, and then we can simply reviews heading. Yeah, no, that's fine. Reviews lead. I'd rather have reviews lead. Reviews list. Reviews list item. Reviews article, yeah. Reviews article, well, reviews review. Okay, right. Yeah. From here on out, this should be the card. Yeah. So don't know why I did that. Okay, that one. What we're doing? Review card. Sorry, I've gone a bit dumb. Right, review card. Yes, review card heading, review card figure, review card block quote, yes. Review card text, happy with that. Yeah, so we've bemmed this up, okay. That was for the span, the name, so review card author, name, reviewer, yeah, and then review card site. I mean, that doesn't really need a class, although it could, because yeah, fine, okay, better to class it up. Okay, cool. Right, we've got those. Let's chuck in. Should we chuck in some content to style around? Well, we've got some. We've got all we need actually. Okay, reviews section. I might keep it like that. Yeah, background var. Oh, that's quite nice. I think that kind of works. Yeah, I think that kind of works. Da-da-da. Primary light. Oh, what have I done? No. No. Yeah, okay. I think I'll go with that. Review inner, we don't want that, and I'm happy with that as it is, to be honest. I've just realised that I do want to have, yeah, that should be a hook heading. Like that one. And then this one is a, oh, yeah, label heading. That's the one. Do. Label heading. Why is that not applying? Oh, okay. So the label heading isn't actually coming through. Okay. Do I have? Oh, I don't have that on here. Okay, I'm on a different build. I thought, or heading label. Oops. There, what that was me trying to use a global that I don't have on this site. So global utilities. Okay, okay. Well, that's obviously not going to work then, is it? Okay, fine enough. I will add that into there. Okay. Now that's a broad heading. That should actually be on my globals, but I'm not going to faff like this. I've kept you long enough here. Okay, in a label heading, that's cool. And then our reviews, or just reviews. Proud of a happy community. That's fine. There's a problem there with the yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I do need to figure something went wrong there with my playing around. So let's put in a grid 3 insert. So we've got that on the go already. Review section, intro, paragraph. And again, this one is gap is var content. Cool. All right, I don't want to fuss too much on this. So review leads, and we've got the list there. So we would like the gap to be, oh God, what's wrong with me? Gap content. And something we need to do here, because we're on the list and I don't have that all zeroed out as I should. So margin 0 and padding 0, and we're going to see that that pulls that in there, which is lovely. Cool. All right, so list item. Again, we're going to use the insert there and chuck on the gap. Gap content. Of course, that's not on that one because we're in an article. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we'll take that and we'll add that there. Much better. Right, background. Var. Yeah, cool. Padding. Padding medium. That's great. And did I bung a radius on here? I think I did. Var radius. Card. I thought I created a radius. I'm sure I did. So image, or it was on the figure. Border radius 40. Oh no, okay. I must have been dreaming. Okay, let's get that on our globals. So yeah, again, I've been playing on a few different projects and things. So border radius, I don't know, layout, I suppose. It's not really layout, but don't know what to call it. Radius. Radius corners. Da, da, da. Radius corners, and that now applies there, which is fine. Cool. All right, let's just make this look half okay, and then we can consider that we're done. Border shadow. sorry, a lot of this time was spent not on actually creating the section, but on the semantics behind that and learning it, which I do appreciate is not as fun. But I do think it's important to learn these things, and I think that might actually work a bit better. Okay, cool. And H3, we're just going to color this one var white. Yeah, and the same with the block quote. I'm going to go direct to it. Color var white. Great. That's in the figure. So we need to chuck on a flex C, and we're going to gap that one of just, yeah, let's go, no, var gap S. So that's half that of content gap, or gap content. Yeah, and I think that's fine. And we'll give that one a bit more of a color, shall we? So that is actually a link. I don't know if I'm getting a bit... Yeah, I probably will want them to be different eventually. So color, let's just give this a... Oh gosh, horrid. Secondary var need to sort that out really. Yeah, I think yeah, so it's just a little bit different. I don't know if I'll sit on that whole color thing really. I'm doing a little bit of a rush because I'm aware of how long we've taken on this. What I'm noticing is that article card does not have the shadow, not really applied to it. So let's have a look at what else is there. That doesn't have it. I feel like the shadows here are quite subtle. So let's make a big shadow. That's correct. 2020. Oh, box shadow. What an idiot. I want it to be acknowledged that I saw that before I got the answer. Shadow. Let's go with a medium. Yeah, better. Okay. I still don't much like that. Fine, I didn't really sort those globals out. Let's bring the var text God, that's actually quite big. Yeah, cool. Right. Now, that is not going to be the final design. I would tweak that off this video, but at least, you know, we can see that we have that together a little bit. Okay, so it's a nice sort of review section, and let's just chuck in the content. I think the real learning that we've done on this video, and it's been quite a lot of learning, has been in the semantics and the back end of it, and the fact that we can learn, you know, we can go and have a chat with AI and have a look at documentation and figure things out more precisely for ourselves. Every day's a school day, no shame in that whatsoever. So David L, love you, yoga. Of course, all of this is really, really static. Later on, we're going to get into things like Astro and making it more sort of like component based, which is really fun. And really, it's what we want to be aiming for ultimately. But yeah, very, very cool. All right, so final one in there. Obviously, with block quotes, you know, you could have separate paragraphs if you wanted to do that, but I do not want to. And if you were having the problem that one review was longer than the others, you could truncate it, or often you might do something like a surrounding div that would, you know, stop it spilling over, and people could go to full review pages to read the full thing. But yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm not going to faff too much with that. I will do some design work outside of this video, because I think you've been through enough, quite frankly. But I'll just add this one in. We take the well-being, satisfaction and happiness of our community very seriously, and are thrilled enjoy my classes. Cool, because I take. Great, and we're going to width that with 60 characters, I think, about that. Yeah, cool. Okie doke. Right, so that is all saved out, as is the nature with Feud. So let's have a look. What we do have as part 4 is that we. Oh, I've messed up my button there. I'm going to have to go and fix that. But yes, we have a review section. I'm going to tend to the colors and design of this outside the video in time for part 5. But also, most importantly, do remember that we have this very semantically perfect review section. I've now got that saved as a custom insert, but you will be able to find that in the Feud Studio native inserts. So just splat it in, change out the content as you just saw me do in that last part of the video. And yeah. Let's do things more responsibly and more perfectly and more awesomely. Cool. Right, so part 5, what we'll do is we'll get a end of homepage call to action sorted out, and a bit of a very quick placeholder footer, and then we'll move on to some other pages. So yeah, this is shaping up quite nicely, learning a lot as we're going, which is often the problem with creating new projects in a period of time where you're learning so much, is that you always want to go back to the projects you've recently done and redo them. You know, you feel like you've did you really earn that money if you've done it in a way that you're not proud of any longer? And I think that's if you're somebody that's always going to be learning in web design and design and all of that, if you're always going to progress in your learning, that is something you will encounter. But yeah, it's good to do a project like this, learning more about Feud and how that can be used properly, and also just getting more. Confronting more really the responsibility of front-end web design, and just how little of it you do when you're using a page builder and slapping designs into a digital form for use on a website. It's just, it's, I don't know, pride in the work. That's a difficult one to answer, that, isn't it? Anyway, right, let's crack on to part 5 of this full site builder, and I'll see you in that one.